Welcome to episode 47 of Undrafted Amateurs. We might have to change the name soon, though, because I'm low-key about to be drafted if the NFL QBs keep playing like this.
Yeah, dude, we honestly might need to. I mean, we were both kind of slicing and dicing a bit in flag football.
How fun was that?
Good thing we can, we might change the NFL. Zach Wilson might get benched for us.
Oh, he's already getting benched, man.
That was honestly so fun, though. We need to do more. Anyone?
Yeah.
I was going to say PSA, but it's way cooler to say public service announcement.
Okay.
Anyone in Richmond that wants to play some flag football,
Yep.
hit us up.
We've
got flags, got pennies,
and
got footballs. And the people, we got a 3-on-3 game, got
last
6 people
Saturday
in, but it's way harder than I thought to get people invested for it. So
it is. We did a little 3v3, and I am still sore, and this is 2 days later. We're recording on Monday, so only 2 days later.
Which is normally the more sore day.
Yeah, but I can barely breathe.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to make you feel better, but it's rough.
It was a great time, much needed. We need to get out there again. But it really goes to show, because a few of us played quarterback here and there. If you have a good pocket, if you have good pocket protection and good wide receivers, you can be a good QB. Makes your job a lot easier.
It is crazy when you have unlimited throwing lanes.
Yeah.
And you have no one in your face that kind of throws that you can make. Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
It's nuts. I made a couple throws that were just nuts. Oh, all right. So question, a little ponder I want real quick, okay?
From me?
So I played golf today.
Yeah.
In that tournament. And I had a big argument with a buddy of mine that if you played against a PGA Tour guy in a normal course, say like Max Homa, okay? We're playing at Willow.
Yeah.
Willow Oaks. Me and Max Homa.
Mm-hmm.
He plays his normal ball, right? Normal golf round. I get 2 strokes every single shot. So I essentially get 2 swings at every single shot. I think I'd beat him.
So essentially you're saying if you were playing a 2-man scramble
by yourself.
With you though, yeah, against him.
So you get 2 drives, 2 approaches, 2 putts, 2 chips, 2 everything.
No, I think that you probably would. I wouldn't. So, because
right.
I'm just not consistent enough. I think if there were 4 of me, there's a lot stronger chance. If I was a 4-man scramble against him.
But my buddy was telling me I have no chance.
No, because here's the thing, is golf, like you could hit a better shot than Max Homa if you have 2 shots. Like your best, like his best shot could be a little bit better than
except drive. He'd probably still drive it probably 30, 40 yards past me, if he got.
He's like what, 330 drive?
Yeah, like 315 consistently, and
Yeah, but I mean, you could lay into one, but you could lay into one 315, something like that.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, maybe even drive, you can somewhat do what he's doing, and all the other shots you could feasibly hit it closer.
That's what I'm
Whereas
saying.
if you take any other sport, the average amateur can't even play the same game. Whereas golf is, you know what I mean? It's just the same game across the board.
So the biggest thing they have is, yes, they can hit the ball a little farther, but the consistency, of course. My friend has played golf a long time, just like he's played since high school, just like I have. And he was I always mispronounce this word, vehemently disagreeing with me. And I was like, if I get 2 shots on every
What's the number for him? Like how many shots do you think would it take for him to agree?
I think 3. If I did 3 shots, he at that point, he was like, I'm like, no, 3 shots every shot.
Yeah, because I mean, here's the thing. You can go watch YouTube golf now, and like Foreplay, Bob Does Sports, all these players or all these YouTubers are playing with PGA players, and you watch what happens when there's 3 of them. It's like very hard for the pro to win.
Correct.
Even though they're so much better because they have 3 reads on every putt.
Correct.
Like you're going to start sinking 30-footers.
Exactly. And that's my point too. And that's the point with putts. Like if you have a 10-footer, well, now you have 2 putts at it. Like
right, and you're going to be, if you get 2 shots every shot, 2 shots every shot,
not bogeying.
You're going to be greens in regulation every single time.
Yep.
And you're probably going to be 1.3 putt average, something like that.
So I was thinking if you have Max Homa, say we play the tips at Willow, which is 7,000, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think at Willow at 7,000 yards, even if Max Homa lights it up, like he's going to shoot 8 under. Like, and that's on a career day. He's more than likely going to shoot probably 6.
Right.
But let's just say he careers it and shoots 9 under, and he shoots 63 from the tips from 7,000 yards.
Right.
I think with 2 shots every hole, first of all, I don't think there's any chance I bogey. So if you throw the bogeys away, right?
Yeah, you're going to be 6 under, 7 under.
Yeah, I think I can make, especially, you got to think, especially the par fives, like you're going to birdie punch every par five. You have 10 or 2 shots at every, I don't know.
No, I think that you would be, it would at least be a very close match. Like he could be on fire and you could be off, or it could be the other way around and you could beat him by like 4. There's no, I would probably need 5 or 6 shots every shot, but there's always hope. Anyway,
text him right now.
You're texting him right now. Yeah. Joe agrees, and he's an undrafted amateur, so he knows. But happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope everyone that's traveling is traveling safe.
Yes.
If you're with family, it's a good time. If you're by yourself,
it's
a good time. If you're with friends, yeah.
Take a chance if we work too much. Everyone works too much.
Have a good turkey day.
Take a chance to relax and take a chance to be grateful.
And take a chance on me. Take a chance.
I would, honestly, man, I don't know if I'd ever take a chance on you.
Yikes. I just said I would take a chance on you getting 2 strokes every single stroke.
I know.
Against Max
You know
Homa,
who I wouldn't take a chance on anymore? Zach Wilson. This is going to be the Zach Wilson hate.
We'll save that for later, but it's coming. So we had a really long intro last time. So for the sake of it, for Turkey Day, let's jump into the rundown first.
I like that.
So let's kick it off with entertainment and news.
Oh.
First up, changing everyone's lives. Beyonce is in talks with having a Vegas residency. I mean, that could be pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so we're starting off hot. Second up, have you seen everything that's going on with OpenAI?
I saw that the current CEO got essentially fired. Someone else came in. I didn't know there's 3 CEOs.
So there were 3 CEOs in 3 days. Here's essentially, it looks like real life succession happening. It's just like a debacle. So the board unexpectedly ousted the CEO, which was one of the co-founders. So then following everything, Microsoft hired him for their AI program, which Microsoft is one of the main investors in OpenAI. So it's getting interesting there. Then the other co-founder who was, I can't remember what his position was, but he went on board with Microsoft. And so 500 employees at OpenAI have signed a petition that says if they don't hire the co-founder back, that they're going to go to Microsoft.
500
including
employees?
The interim CEO that was put in for a day, Mira Murati or something like that. Everyone now at OpenAI is tweeting, OpenAI is nothing without its people. So basically, sum everything up right now. OpenAI's CEO is with Microsoft. Their president, that was the other co-founder. And now 500 employees are threatening to leave and go to Microsoft. So it was like this coup from the board that just has not worked.
No, and I like OpenAI. I mean, ChatGPT, I use it all the time. I mean, I use it all. I need to use it more, actually. I might start using it even more.
I mean, you should start using more.
You use AI a lot.
Yeah, for a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah,
just kind of watching it from a distance, watching it just burn. Anyway, enough of the entertainment news realm. Let's jump into sports. And first thing I got to say, FSU's Jordan Travis, I don't know if it's out with a gruesome leg injury.
And that also sucks.
It sucks. They are currently 11-0.
They're not going to be in the top 4.
This isn't supposed to impact, but it always does. And so they're not going to play as convincingly next week.
Plus, like, who knows? Washington's going to have to be in. So, I mean, like, they beat so many ranked teams. Like, they're going to have to be in.
Yeah, Washington's going to be a lock-in. I think...
Oh, what if the SEC is going to be tough, though?
So if Alabama wins, that's going to be really tough. If Georgia wins, it's a shoe-in. Because right now they have Alabama's 8, though. So they're basically saying Alabama's out no matter what.
That's true. But Ohio State
and Michigan can't do it again. They can't both go again. It was a disaster
that's what I'm saying. If one of them loses...
Which they will, because they're playing each other.
That's what I'm saying. So if one of them loses...
Well, I'm saying one of them will lose, not if one of them loses.
You know what I'm trying to say. Like, if one of them loses... No, I know they're playing each other, but if one of them loses...
When one of them loses.
Like, who do you... I guess you got to kick them out, right? At that point?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because last year...
they lose to like a...
because last year... Because if Georgia loses, they're losing to Alabama.
Yeah.
Last year
Georgia out?
Well, that's the thing is like... Wow. I would much rather Georgia stay in than have Ohio State and Michigan back at it again for a second year after, because it's a little bit different when you just, yes, you're losing to a playoff team, which, yes, that's a good loss, if you will. But people just saw that game. You don't want to see another rematch in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially when last year both of them went after Ohio State lost.
Dude, I think here's my theory. It's like, if you know what's on the line, you got to win that game. And so it's like, If Georgia loses, they're out. And then let's just say Michigan loses, they're out. So then it's, say Washington, Ohio State, and then 2 more.
But then does Alabama have enough to jump in? Because if they were
Beating
8 right now, beating number
Georgia?
1, winning the SEC.
Oh,
Because yes, there's SEC bias, but at what point do you have to be like the SEC's won it for the last 15 years? The winner just gets an automatic seat.
Win, because think about it. If Alabama wins,
it's gonna be chaos.
What do you if Alabama wins, Georgia, for example, has 1 loss, and let's just say Michigan loses, they have 1 loss. You're going to have so many tough decisions. And then Florida State, for example, say they win the ACC and they're undefeated, but their schedule is just not near of what.
And their quarterback's out, which isn't supposed to impact
this could be chaos.
The other thing, you're not supposed to factor this in, but if you look, you do not want a repeat of last year's national championship game. That was, no one enjoyed watching that. So you've got to think that in your mind a little bit going in, right?
Yeah.
Which I know you shouldn't, but I'm saying that I'm sure that has to factor in to some degree. But anyway, that'll get really interesting. Yeah. We'll obviously know a lot more next week.
Especially if Alabama wins. That'll be really interesting.
Other things in college football, Jaden Daniels is still looking he's putting up video game numbers.
Yeah.
And so the Heisman race is getting close with Bo Nix and Penix.
Bo Nix is also putting up video game numbers.
So far this year, Jaden Daniels, he's 220 of 303 with a 72.6 completion percentage, 3,577 yards, 36 touchdowns, 4 picks, a 208.3 passer rating, 124 carries for 1,000 yards, 1,014, and another 10 rushing touchdowns, an 85-yard run, and an 86-yard pass this season.
He's disgusting.
What's crazy, though, is right now he's projected as a 2nd round or beyond. He's over 12,000 yards on his career, and he's 6'4". He's got a thinner frame, but he's very accurate. He's a great runner. I'm well, why are we not talking about him more?
Dude, it once again goes back to the conversation of no one knows anything when it comes to quarterbacks. Seriously. Dude, they've been doing this for how long? 80 years? They don't know anything about quarterbacks, especially right now with the different offenses, right? Every offense is just so different in the NFL. Who knows? I mean, really.
Who knows?
I'd go pick them the Panthers. Let's trade Bryce Young.
Tepper would ruin them. So Texas A&M, they sent out an all walk-on kickoff squad. And they forced a fumble.
Yeah,
so that was pretty exciting.
That's sick.
Then Colorado's 3rd-string quarterback caught his own pass and then threw an interception. Of course, he got flagged for a 2nd pass in it, but they declined it because it was a turnover anyway. that was brutal to watch. So then in the MLB, a couple quick updates for the Braves and the Phillies. The Braves traded Kyle Wright and Nick Anderson, the Royals, for Jackson Kowar, which will be interesting because Kyle Wright underwent shoulder surgery. So he's going to be out for 2024. And
probably a good move for the Braves.
Yeah, the Royals just haven't been able to get the most out of Jackson Kowar. So but the Braves kind of can do that. So we'll see. That'll be interesting. Then they traded Soroka, Schuster, Shoemate, and Nicky Lopez for Aaron Bummer. Also rumored to be interested in Sonny Gray. So they're making moves.
Making a lot of moves.
I was telling a friend, for all the teams that I like, the Braves are the one now where Alex Anthopoulos is just so good that whenever he's making a move, you're like, you know what? You're going to do something great with it. Yeah. I don't know. Everyone else, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's amazing to have that. Man, what does that feel like?
Wow. I mean, the team's locked down for the next 5 years.
Wow.
And then the Phillies agree to terms with Stubbs, with a couple other guys. And
Nola, that was a big one.
Yeah, signed a 7-year deal with him. I just don't really want to talk about the Phillies. So
that was a big deal. They gave him a lot of money.
He did. He made some monies. So quick NFL news before we jump into the week itself. But unfortunately, Joe Burrow is out for the season. Which
just joined the list
and then
of quarterbacks.
Deshaun Watson went out, and so now it's just a growing list of quarterbacks out for the season, unfortunately.
Yep.
Then Brock Purdy is the first 49er with a perfect passer rating since Joe Montana in 1989. You got to
throw Purdy in there somewhere.
Hey, I mean, if you're the first with a perfect passer rating,
yeah.
Then Dallas cornerback Deron Bland tied the single season record with 4 pick sixes so far. How many pick
sixes has Bryce Young thrown? 4 this season? Just Bryce Young?
Because he threw 2 in a game.
He threw 2 in one game. This one, I feel like he had 1 more. Come on, man. How many pick sixes?
It's essentially a halfway mark, a little bit past the halfway mark. And he's got 4 pick sixes, tying the record. One more this year.
Just one more.
That's going to be awesome.
That'd be awesome. I'm rooting for it.
And then speaking of records, CMC started over again. Now he's got 1 consecutive game with a touchdown. He's getting back at it.
He's an animal. The
Browns signed Joe Flacco to practice squad.
How old is Joe Flacco these
39,
days?
I think.
Almost 40. I was going to say
38, 39.
Why are the Panthers not doing this? Like, that's a perfect person for Bryce Young.
You keep acting like there's going to be anything rational that happens.
But
you're saying, why is this irrational being not doing something rational?
Joe Flacco's won a Super Bowl.
Once again, your argument is, why is this just disaster of a front office not doing something rational? It would be more confusing if they did do something rational. Then Jets benched Wilson. So I saw a tweet that he's 3rd string now. And Aaron Rodgers said that he can practice as of December 2nd.
So I feel like we've been a podcast that we don't really hate on anyone, and I want to keep it that way, but I'm not hating on Wilson, but he's had his time. Like, he's had his multiple opportunities, man. Like, he's had the entire season, because he did get thrown in game 1, but I mean, he's had 9 plus 10 weeks to get used to this. He played last year. This is not his rookie year. Like, I'm sorry. He's done. Get him out of the NFL. He's made $35 million in his contract. Congratulations. Live a good life. And like,
the
it's
trip
over.
Was hard. It's hard to come back from that one. If you don't know what we're talking about, just watch the video right now. We'll play a clip of it.
Yeah.
Then 2 more things news-wise. Jimmy Johnson is finally inducted into the Cowboys Ring of Honor, which is shocking that it has not happened at this point.
Yeah,
I guess the feud with him and Jerry Jones is over. Yeah. And then Barry Sanders documentary is coming out, I think tomorrow or yesterday.
On Netflix?
I think it's Amazon.
Okay.
But it looks interesting. They're talking about how apparently Joe Montana, since we mentioned him earlier, wanted to come play on the Lions with him. And the Lions were like, no, he's too old. And said no to Joe Montana. So who knows? So that's coming out. Excited about that. But that was a quick hit list. Let's jump into NFL Week 11. Let's see the good, the bad. And there was some ugly.
Yeah,
there was some ugly there.
Always.
What you got first?
The good, bad, and ugly. I mean, we got to start ugly, right? We have to start with Carolina Panthers. I mean, dude, what is there any chance you think? I mean, obviously, we know the front office. We know all this stuff. Of course, I think I'm 4 or 5 picking against the Panthers spread. Dude, I mean, is there any chance in the next 3 to 5 years the Panthers are going to be any good? There's no way.
No.
And their first pick goes to the Chicago Bears. So.
No, their line's trash. And so we've got a young, small quarterback with limited weapons that has 0 time to throw. He's getting knocked down. Cowboys honestly struggled for a while against the Panthers, because it was 17-10 in the 4th quarter.
And then they kind of busted it open. But also pick 6, which really helps.
But still, that was rough. But no, the Panthers, I think, are going to be down for a while.
But the Cowboys,
because here's the thing. I think they're going to keep trying to do quick fixes on a rebuild. And it just will never work if you do that. You have to actually rebuild. Otherwise, you're just going to keep pushing yourself down. And they're probably going to make more like personnel changes and stuff happening. And they're going to keep doing that for probably 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
And you're not going to really get out as long as you're in that cycle. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's nothing to indicate that I would be wrong about this.
Dude, you are not. Like, they traded away McCaffrey, right? Which I actually didn't hate the trade. I feel like, we both didn't really hate the trade. We got some draft picks and some cap space. Like, I don't hate the trade giving McCaffrey away, but essentially you're saying like, hey, we're more in a rebuild mode. Yeah. And then you trade up for the number 1 overall pick and surround them. And then Tepper goes, we're going to win the division this year. Like, come on, man.
No.
We should start a segment that's just, come on, man. And it's like,
yeah, it's just like, have a little bit of patience with the rebuild like this.
I didn't think the Cowboys looked that good either. But once again,
I mean, the line was extra tough to watch this week.
Yeah.
I'll go with the bad. We were talking about it before we started recording. Brandon Staley getting defensive about his defense. So we got the clip. We're just going to throw it up for a second and talk about it.
I've told you, and like I've told you from the beginning, I have full confidence in our way of playing. Full confidence in myself as the play caller and the way that we teach and the way that we scheme. Full confidence in that. So you can stop asking that question.
Stop.
Okay? I'm going to be calling the defenses. Okay? So we're clear. so you don't have to ask that again.
I'm sure they're asking him every week about this, so I'm sure he is tired of it. But at the same time, like, do something different.
Well, so there were a couple things in this press conference. One, he was saying that he was taking full responsibility, but he was throwing players under the bus and saying like the scheme and everything's there and like people aren't just executing.
Right.
And I'm like, two, I'm shocked that he's still around, honestly.
Yeah.
He's on the hot seat for sure. He's calling plays defensively and they're 31st in the league.
Yeah.
Yes, reporters
Their
are annoying,
offense
but that's
is pretty good.
Right. Like,
but he's
if
not
you're
calling,
a defensive-minded coach, then don't have the 31st defense in the league.
Right. And you have good offense, so I mean, they just need to fix. If they could somehow fix that, imagine if they had a top 10 defense, then we'd be talking about the Chargers, playoff contention.
We kind of thought a little bit going into the year. I will say, Justin Herbert looked way better than the stat line in the last game because Keenan Allen had a big drop in the end zone, which very uncharacteristic for him.
Right.
And then on the drive at the end of the game, Quentin Johnston dropped a ball that would have put him in field goal range. So those were tough. But still, it's the defense.
Yeah.
It's like I get that he's frustrated, but I don't know. That rubbed me the wrong way watching it.
It's like to have some accountability for yourself, man.
Well, because he goes, I take full responsibility, but then I was like, well, which is it?
Yeah. He doesn't take full responsibility because their defense is trash.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to do one more ugly because we got to talk about the ugly here. The Jets. I mean, we talked about Zach Wilson for a little bit. Jets are officially, here we go.
Just the clip one more time. Wait. And look, 3, 2. I'm sorry, Zach Wilson. I'm sure you're a good person.
Look, and the Bills, obviously, it's a must-win situation for them. They don't quite have to win out, but they have to almost win out to make the playoffs.
Right.
So, I mean, it's at Buffalo, tough environment, but at the same time, like 32-6. 32-6. And the Jets just can't get anything going, man, on offense.
Oh, yeah. I will say, though, on the good category, you got to shout out the Bills offense.
Yeah.
It was time to turn around. They fired their OC, and this Jets team is not amazing, but their defense is incredible.
But it's so much easier to play good offense when the other offense is just going 3 and out. You can create a really good rhythm when you're on the field all the time.
You definitely can, but this Jets team continues to step up despite that. So, I mean, the defense just needs more and more props about it. They're probably, at some point, they're just
and they kept
over
it close the first quarter. I mean, the first half, and then it kind of.
But, and in this game, so more Brock Purdy, because he had set the longest pass of the season with, I think it was a 75-yarder.
Yeah.
And then Buffalo took it over a little bit later with, I think,
you want to know my
81-yarder.
favorite thing about this game? So I'm in our fantasy league. I was playing against Josh Allen. And I had Diggs and Dalton Kincaid.
Yep.
3 TD passes from Josh Allen, and not a one of them went to Diggs or Kincaid.
Okay, since we're talking about fantasy, one, that's frustrating.
So frustrating. So frustrating. So frustrating.
Even more frustrating than that is there's one guy in our league that went all in on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Got like Tua, Tyreek Hill, Waddle.
Yeah.
And then you play him
on the bye week.
On the bye. And then I play him
when they play
coming
the
off the bye. And so Tyreek Hill alone just destroyed the team. But what I want to talk about is fantasy scoring. Doesn't make sense to me. If you look at, so Sam Howell, he had some rushing yards, but threw for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Oof.
The interceptions destroyed them against the Giants. Giants go on to beat them, obviously. Right. And he gets 17.7 points.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Tua throws for 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception at 17.6 because he didn't have the rushing yards.
Right.
I get that. But interceptions need to count against a quarterback more than they do.
More than 2.
Sam Howell throwing 3 picks made it impossible for the Commanders to win.
Yeah.
And so it's
like
just
Josh
weird.
Allen
it's
sometimes.
like if you look at those, Sam Howell and Tua didn't play a great game either. Let's be clear.
Did you
about
see
that.
those statistics about Josh Allen on both sides, like the touchdown and then the last night? It's like since 2020 came to the league, he's leading by like, I don't know, a few touchdowns, like total touchdowns, but he's also leading by like 12 turnovers. It's like, I
mean, part of that though with Josh Allen, the more I've been thinking about it, is he's forced to do so much for the Bills.
He is.
Where they need him to be the gunslinger that makes plays happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the counter to that is you throw a lot of picks.
Right.
And so people want the gunslinger that doesn't throw picks. And that's just not realistic.
No, it's not. You can't have both. And that's a good point. And some of his interceptions are like the one, like he threw a Hail Mary at half. And yeah, they picked it off.
Right. Or the one off Gabe Davis's hands. Like it happens. So
yeah, there's a lot of ugly we can talk about. We can talk about the Bengals. They're gone, right? Playoffs.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's injury, that was a major bummer.
I would argue Joe Burrow is forced to even more than Josh Allen is.
No, they have so much better of a run game, the Bengals do.
Yeah. Mixon's good. Chase is obviously an animal. But
just as a team, they're able to run it better, which I think makes such a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why the Bengals beat them in the playoffs, is they could just turn the clock and run the ball. But since we're talking about Joe Burrow, should this be in the bad or the ugly category? The fact that he was wearing a brace and wasn't on the injury report.
I don't know if it should be in either.
What?
Yeah. So here's my opinion about it. I think you can't be so nitpicky about that type of stuff, because think about how many braces are worn during the week.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying is he clearly wasn't just wearing a brace. He wasn't himself on any point 100%. Of it. So that's more of what I'm saying is was he actually injured? And
he could have been, but that's what I'm saying. It's tough, because people are like, oh, they should fine the Bengals for not disclosing. I'm like, you do realize every single NFL player at this point in the season is wearing something, whether it's a brace or whether it's tape or, I mean, through 11 weeks, every single NFL player is probably wearing something.
No, that part's true, but I'm just more thinking that more than likely they knew something was going on.
Something was, and you can just see in the way the injury happened, something was going on. Maybe he tweaked something, and then
because he was grimacing even before, and I mean I just feel bad for the dude because he worked so hard to get back from.
I feel so bad, and he tore his ACL.
Right, and then his calf injury, he worked so hard to get back from. He's finally feeling better, and then this happens.
Dude, this is his third, I would consider, major injury in 3 years. ACL, and the calf was a pretty major injury, and then this is going to be obviously season-ending injury, which sucks.
Yeah, it is a bummer. But the Commanders, Giants, that's in the bad category or however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Good category, you've got Tommy Danny DeVito.
DeVito, baby. He's an animal.
I don't know if I said that. He had a good game. Let's not get carried away.
He was an animal.
He had a good game. Sam Howell did not have a good game. But, are the Giants back?
But I like DeVito, though.
Yeah, he played well.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy's fake pass. Did you see this?
Uh-huh.
So this is on my good category because Jerry Jeudy was past the line of scrimmage, does a little pump fake pass, and the DB bites hard.
You got to do that, man.
I love that.
I think you pulled that move out in flag football.
Yeah. And then I threw a dime to you, so they had to respect it,
They had to respect it.
CJ Stroud, though, first pick-heavy game, so he throws three picks.
Yep.
But still had a strong mindset throughout. Afterwards, after the game, he's talking about how he's got to keep shooting, keep throwing, doing his best.
Dude, good for him. They still won.
I think, since we posted this, people have been commenting some about the difference in Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. And they're like, no, stop taking stuff away from CJ Stroud. That makes sense, yes. I'm not trying to diminish what he's done in Texas, but I think the culture right now in Houston is one where DeMeco Ryan is supporting and championing CJ Stroud, and he's playing better. He's got a better line than the Panthers. And then he has the support to know, you're going to mess up. You're going to throw 3 picks, and we're still behind you. And we still need you to be doing what you're doing. And I think there's just so many factors that go into a quarterback's success.
He said Steph Curry don't stop shooting when he misses. I mean, there's some truth to that. But also, CJ Stroud is setting a lot of records. There's another record where, through the first 5 home games he's ever played, he's thrown for, I don't know, 1,600 yards or something.
On 300.
And that's never happened. And it's it's just insane what he's doing. But yes, it's a better scheme, and you're not comparing apples to apples when you're talking about it. But at the same time, if you win, it takes care of a lot of stuff.
Right.
It really does. So yeah, he threw 3 picks, but they still found a way to win. And
so I actually have that in the good category.
Yeah. I would have that in the good category too.
Raiders only losing by 7 and forcing 3 turnovers. I actually have that in the good category.
Yeah.
Bad, Aiden O'Connell throwing 3 picks, but good. They covered the spread against the Dolphins. So good job them.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Dolphins aren't the real deal.
Yet you were so confident that they were going to cover the spread.
And they didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the Lions-Bears
That's what I'm saying. They're not the real deal.
Lions-Bear games. Lions-Bear games.
Gibbs
Bear
with another
games.
TD.
Gibbs with another touchdown.
That's huge.
So Lions obviously should have won by more and should have handled the game. However, they were down, let's see what it was. They were down 12 with 3 minutes left.
Okay.
They scored right at the 3-minute mark. So it's a little bit of a misnomer, but still down by 12 and then end up winning by 5, I think. That is not not a Detroit team of the past.
No, that's correct. But I will say Goff helped get them out of the hole, but he also put them into the hole. I mean, the first few drives, he played abysmal. Like 2 picks, so many incompletions the first few drives. They couldn't get anything going on offense.
I love this because you know exactly what you're describing.
What?
Trevor Lawrence in the playoff game against the Chargers.
Yeah. And there's a lot to be said about they still won, right? And they still came back from it. But yeah, he did put them into.
Yeah, so bad was him throwing 3 picks, obviously. He hasn't thrown that since 2019.
Throwing 2 picks in the first, 3 drives? 4 drives?
So that's what I'm saying. That as a whole, if you look at this, you're not happy from a Detroit standpoint.
If you play anyone other than the Bears and the Panthers, you probably lose, and the Patriots, you probably lose that game.
But at the end of the day, it's a long season, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And
you would rather do it against the Bears.
Well, and you want to bounce back from it. That's my thing, where it's just like, yeah, you won at the end of the day. It wasn't pretty. But you build something every time that you come back. It doesn't matter if it's against the Bears because you could have very easily lost that game, and you don't want to have a loss, and you definitely don't want to have a loss to the Bears.
Oh gosh, no.
So, yeah, I Goff didn't play well, but I think that this Lions
found a way to
team,
win.
To me, they're not a top 2 NFC. Right now, I think they're 3 above the Cowboys to me. But the Cowboys and them are battling it out for a 3 spot. It's like,
I see.
To me, it's the Eagles and the Niners. And then the 3 spot would be either the Cowboys or the Lions.
Yeah. That's tough to argue.
Which, we'll talk about.
Lions are 8-2?
Yeah.
I mean,
8-2.
It's tough to argue with logic.
So we'll do actually some I was going to say midseason, a little bit past midseason playoff predictions.
Yep.
And obviously that'll come up there.
I like that.
Let's see. Anything else you had? Good, bad, ugly?
I mean, one of the other goods I had was like the Browns somehow finding a way to win with DTR against the Steelers because the Steelers are a pretty good football team.
They're a weird football team. They had been outgained in every game and were 6-3.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is great. Don't get me wrong, but their offense is confusing.
Not great.
And
their offense and Najee Harris.
The game itself was kind of a bad game.
Yeah, 13-10. But I mean, rookie QB.
Yeah.
Found a way to win. Good for him. I always cheer for the Rooks, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. Then, that's pretty much all I had.
It. Yeah. Jaguars took care of business against the Titans.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence played well there.
So, I guess we'll just jump into the Chiefs-Eagles game. I like it. The game of the week. Was it what you wanted? Was it what you hoped?
I'm shocked the Eagles won. It's one of those games where the Eagles did not deserve to win, but then all of a sudden
But did the Chiefs either, though?
Good point.
That's the thing. So there were glimpses of, because after the game, you can always play the blame game of did the Eagles win it or did the Chiefs lose it? Both sides had flashes of looking very good and very bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's also Chiefs offense didn't score a point in the second half.
The last few games, I think they've been outscored 38-0 in the second half.
Really?
Combined.
Oh, wow. So they haven't scored in the second half in a while.
They
should have scored, but, I mean, the drop in the end zone after the dime.
They had 5 drops in this game. They're up to 26 on the season.
That's, 12 more than... Maybe not that.
That's 26 more than it should be. But
yeah, but that's they're leading the league.
Because there was the big 3rd down drop on the slant.
Yep.
Kelsey had a drop.
Yep.
And a fumble.
Yeah.
Then Valdez Scantling.
They had 2 red zone turnovers.
It was
It was kind
The
of
Chiefs
ugly.
left a lot on the board. And then the Eagles too. They
did.
Again, there were glimpses of looking good, but as a whole, just
Their offense looked a lot better second half. First half, they looked confused. They just looked confused out there. But that tush push, man, it's unbelievable.
yeah, because look at it. So in the Dolphins-Chiefs game, the Dolphins scored 14 in the second half, and they didn't score any.
Chiefs did.
Then week 8, that was the Dolphins I was looking at. The Broncos scored 10, the Chiefs didn't either. So that's up to 24.
So 38 unanswered.
Yeah.
Wow,
in the second
in the
half.
second
so
half.
take the
Wow.
under on the Chiefs in the second half until they figure something out.
Whoa.
But-
That's nuts. Because Patrick Mahomes looked great in the first half. It was like the opposite of the Super Bowl.
It was the opposite of the Super Bowl for
Yeah.
sure. But he didn't look bad. So we got to take into account it was a wet field, cold, bad
Raining.
conditions.
It was 45
gross.
and raining.
So
It's
yes, he had some
disgusting.
bad passes for sure. He also had a lot of good passes.
Yes.
I think that the Chiefs are just still relying on Patrick Mahomes to be Superman constantly, and he delivers 8 out of 10 times. But how long is that really sustainable?
Right.
Should they have just kept
They
Tyreek
need
Hill?
one
Should
more
they pay him a little bit more?
No, they need one more piece. Don't you feel like Kelsey's obviously such a big piece, but if they had someone else, like one other, like Eagles do a great job at this. The Chiefs shut down A.J. Brown last night.
But then you look.
But then they had Devontae
Swift,
Smith.
Yeah, and Swift stepped up too.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So it's like everyone else started, but no one else on the Chiefs
I like
stepped up.
Pacheco, though. I think
Yeah, okay,
he's
he
a-
ran good. And he ran hard. I love the way he just attacks
They had,
the
what,
ground.
100
stomps
rushing
on it.
yards in the first half?
I feel like I can
Maybe
hear
more?
the running of the Bulls whenever he stomps and he
So,
runs.
first of all, I like Pacheco, and obviously Kelsey's probably one of the best tight ends to ever play the game.
Yeah.
But if they had one good wide receiver, great route runner or great wide receiver, because that's the Eagles
don't have
have
a
so
deep
well.
threat, is
That's
the
what I'm
thing.
saying.
Right, because the Eagles have 2 deep threats. Kelsey, he will always get open somehow, and then he'll break some
Yeah.
tackles and make some big plays. But he's not the guy that beats the defense. Like on the play that Valdez-Scantling dropped, it was a great pass. He got a couple
Beautiful
steps,
pass.
and he put it there, and they just don't have anyone that can do that.
Beautiful pass. There, like you said, there's some
Yeah.
shades of greatness, and then also some what is going on?
It's easier
here?
said than done, but you've got to think that if you're playing the Chiefs, again, easier said than done, but you don't let Patrick Mahomes run around a ton, and you shut down Kelsey.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say on this game? The drops, obviously, a big part of it. Nothing really I can think of.
No. Eagles still number 1. They've won a couple games, so it didn't look like they were going to win. But hey,
But it's a win.
Jalen Hurts said at the end of the game, you know what he said? He said, just got to find a way to win.
Yeah, what was up with them not doing the tush push on that early 3rd and 1?
Yeah. And then they ran it out of the shotgun. They lost 2 yards. They
Yeah.
punted it. My thing is like, all right, 3rd and 1, either tush push, of course, or take a shot downfield.
Because you know that you have another play. Well,
take a
they
shot
didn't get to it.
downfield. So
I just
do it every
understand
time.
wanting to mix it up, but at some point you're like, this is not broke. This is flawless. Milk it for all that it's worth until someone can finally stop you. You know what I mean? Like,
They're like, 55 out of 60, I think.
it's unreal.
So they're going to probably 90. They're going to be an A. They're going to be 93%, in the tush push, which is insane.
That's crazy.
But who knows? That the Eagles, they won. So okay, They
Well,
won.
should we hit the power rankings
yeah.
then?
Yeah.
All right, you want to hit it first?
Yep. I'm going to put the Buffalo Bills at 10. A little bit of an aggressive 10, but their offense is finally starting to click. So if Josh Allen keeps playing like Superman and doesn't turn the ball over as much, I think that they are going to be a serious wild card contender. 9, I got Jaguars. 7-3, but I think they're arguably the worst 7-3 team. Arguably. The Browns, it's close. But anyway, Jaguars at 9, Browns at 8. I got them kind of interchangeable, 8 and 9. Cowboys at 7, Dolphins at 6. Then 49ers rounding out or starting the top 5.
You had them drop back from last week?
I had the 49ers at 5 here because I'm keeping the Chiefs in 5, or I'm keeping the Chiefs in the top 5. I'm keeping the Lions in top 5.
Yeah, you had the 49ers at 4 last week. You're bumping them back after the game against the Bucs?
Yeah. To start out the top 5, I got the 49ers Look good against the Bucks. I still have a few questions with their 3 losses, but we'll see in the next few weeks. Lions at 4. They're 8-2. I mean, 8-win team, 8-win Lions. If Jared Goff doesn't turn the ball over, they're a great football team. Chiefs at 3. I think the loss put them back a little bit. I think obviously the Eagles are the real deal. It shouldn't put them back a whole lot. So I got the Chiefs at 3. I actually am going to change and put the Ravens at 2 this week, make them jump up a couple, because if their offense keeps clicking and everything keeps going well with Lamar, they could be the AFC champs. So, and of course, Eagles at 1.
All right. Interesting you got the Bills in. Yeah, they're starting to look better. They could very well be in, as we mentioned, or as we will get into with our playoff prediction. I think they're going to get hot. But I'm going to go 10 Texans. I've got the Texans. Really, honestly, there's not a lot of movement from last week to this week for me. There's like a few shifts. But I've got the Seahawks dropping out, and then the Texans moving in at 10. High on CJ Stroud, high on D'Amico. I've mentioned all this stuff before. Then the Jags will move up 1 to 9. Then I've got the Browns dropping back to 8. They still won, but quarterback situation, a lot of moving pieces. Question mark there. Cowboys move up 1 spot to 7. Dolphins stay at 6. And then I've got Lions staying at 5. Ravens staying at 4. Then I've got the Chiefs falling right behind the 49ers to me. They both have the same record. The 3 losses for the 49ers are just easy to mark up as a slump. Like they had injuries. It was a quick skid, a slump. Like they weren't them in those couple games. But if you look at all the rest of the season, they've looked better than the Chiefs. The Chiefs right now I say can't, they're going to prove me wrong, but like you don't want the Chiefs to keep relying on Patrick Mahomes to be Superman. Like they've got to start catching passes and making plays.
Yeah.
So the 49ers look better as a whole than the Chiefs to me, and then Eagles won.
Yep. I like that. It's interesting. I mean, the 8-win teams, the Ravens and the Lions, that's interesting. I would love to see a 49ers Lions game. That would be an interesting game right there.
All right. Playoff predictions. Why don't you go first?
Should we do by division?
Yeah, so what I did is I've seeded it. So I have the division winners and the 3 wild cards.
Okay.
You can do that, or you can go by division with 3 wild card spots. Whatever you'd prefer.
I'll just do the seed like that. So I think you're right. I think the playoff picture as of now is Eagles
with the bye.
Number 1. And then the next 2 division winners, we have Detroit and 49ers. I don't think anyone's come from behind there. Who's going to win the NFC South? You're looking at it and you're like, none of them are good football teams. I mean, the Saints, obviously Panthers, just eliminate them. But Saints, Falcons, and Tampa. Originally, we thought it was going to be Tampa.
You can make an argument for any of them.
Well,
actually, I thought it was going to be the Saints because they got Derek Carr. They looked like they were making some moves. Then you watch game 1, and you're like,
I still think it's going to be the Saints as of right now, unless something crazy happens. And here's why. Here's the biggest reason I think it's going to be the Saints. We know they have a pretty good defense, right? Which is obviously key. But I think Derek Carr and having comparative to the other NFC South QBs, you have Baker Mayfield, you have Desmond Ridder, and then you have Bryce Young. Or the other, so Derek Carr, you would argue, is the best one out of those 4, right? And then the Saints also have probably the best D in the NFC South right now.
Yeah.
Arguably. So I think the Saints are going to edge it, and I think it's going to be one of those 8-9 division winners. I really do. But I think the Saints are probably going to edge it. And then my 3 wild card, I think you got to put Dallas in there, right? Yeah. I think the Dallas is probably going to come out 10-6 or 10-7 or 11-6, somewhere around there. Now is kind of when it gets a little bit more interesting, but at the same time, I mean, the NFC. It's tough to count out Seattle or Minnesota because the next best is Green Bay at 4-6.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would have to stick with Minnesota at 6 and then Seattle at 7 or interchange those 2. But
okay. Yeah, that's pretty similar to what I have. I've got, it could change. But I actually went through and guessed the rest of the games. That's how I factor this. But right now, again, it could be the 49ers. I have the Eagles, though, since they have a little bit of a leg up, getting the number 1 seed in the bye. Then I've got the 49ers as the number 2 seed for the West. Then Lions at the 3 seed North.
Yep.
And then Bucks, I actually have them winning the division.
Oh, how come? You think Bake's going to do it?
I mean, I like Baker more than what I'm seeing from the other divisions. As I don't think it's going to be the Falcons.
Yeah.
I could get on board with a good argument. Again, I could be wrong with the Falcons. I don't think it will, though, because nothing besides the Panthers would actually shock me.
Right.
But the Saints or the Bucks, I think either one of those teams, a good argument could be made for. I think Baker Mayfield's honestly having a pretty solid season.
Yeah, not bad.
They've still got weapons, and their defense isn't bad. I think they're going to be a first-round loss. Don't get me wrong, but I think
Any NFC South.
Yeah, I think that they have a little bit more experience. And then, like, Derek Carr got shaken up. Jameis isn't going to do it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't feel great about that. But so as the last division winner, they're the 4 seed. And then I have 5 seed the Cowboys. So the Bucks and the Cowboys would be the first game. Then
Cowboys
I've got Vikings
strong,
as the 6th seed when Justin Jefferson gets back. Yeah, they lost their first game. The Josh Magic wore off a little bit. But
he's a
still
good
played
backup. He's not,
No, he played great still. Then Seahawks, I have them as the 7th seed coming in. So it'd be a division game, Seahawks 49ers, then Vikings Lions, and then Cowboys Bucks as the wild card round. Yeah. Interesting. So then AFC, what you got for us?
Ooh, this gets a little bit more interesting. I feel like the NFC is like, all right.
Yeah.
But Kansas City won. I still think they're going to be 1. Even though there's a big case for the Ravens coming out 1. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs based on experience. So Chiefs 1. I'm going to go with Ravens 2 coming out of the East. I'm actually going to still go Jacksonville in 3, which you might not do. But I'm still going to go Jacksonville 3. I think they had a kind of a breakthrough with the playoff win last year. And I think that they're going to finish pretty strong this year. And then Dolphins 4 as the division leaders. Then now it gets kind of interesting because I want to put Buffalo in here just based on principle, but they also have probably the hardest schedule coming the next 6 weeks. I'm going to go with Browns 5. I think their defense is just too good not to put them at 5. I like CJ Stroud. I like him leading the Texans to the playoffs at a 10-7 pace. I just don't think the Steelers make playoffs. I just don't. And I'm going to have to put the Bills in there for, I just think there's some reason. They do have a very tough schedule, but I think that they're going to go, somehow, they're going to go 4-6 or 4 of 6 in the next 6 games.
So wait, run down who you have again. You got Chiefs as number 1 bye.
Yep. Chiefs number 1 bye. Ravens 2 coming out of the division. Jacksonville winning the division at 3. Dolphins winning the division at 4. Then I have Cleveland at 5, Houston at 6, and then Buffalo Bills at 7.
Okay. So I think I've got the Chiefs. I think they're going to take the number 1 seed. This is spoiler. I'm going to spoil the whole script. I think the Ravens might go to the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to get colder later on. And so I actually have them drop into a 3.
Oh, okay.
I think the Dolphins are going to beat the Ravens, and that's going to be the Dolphins' 1 good game. And if you look at the rest of their schedule, it's like they got the Bills, and then, but it's not crazy.
Eagles, right? Don't they play the Eagles too?
Yeah, they got like the Bills and the Eagles, but it's not like a crazy schedule the rest of the
like
year.
The Bills
and
is
they're
nuts.
getting the job done. And at the end of the day, it's like if you keep winning against most of the teams, you get in the playoffs.
Very
and so
correct.
I think the Dolphins might get the number 2 seed, but I think the Ravens are a better team that might fall to 3. Then I've got the Texans winning the South. So coming in at 4. Right now, they have 1 head-to-head against the Jags. They're both, they both look like good teams. I'm just going to ride with the Texans. And I got the Jags coming in at 5 as the first wild card team.
Okay.
Then 6, I actually have the Bills. I had them getting hotter. Then
Wow.
I think I have them losing like 1 more game. Again, this is...
Oh, wow.
I don't know if this is going to happen. Part of it was wishful thinking. But, getting hot at the right time.
If they win 5 out of the next 6, they're going to win the Super Bowl. I can tell you that right now because they're going to beat a lot of good teams.
You completely forgot to account for the Bills curse.
What?
The fact they played in 3 Super Bowls and lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, but still, they're going to Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you just said win the Super Bowl.
Well, they're definitely going to go.
But anyway, so I've got the Bills at 6, and then I've got the Broncos coming in at 7. I think that the Steelers aren't going to make it.
Wow.
And I think the Browns' magic's going to start to fade.
Okay.
I think their defense has been carrying them. I think that, same with the Jets. When the defense is forced to carry a team for too long, I think that it breaks down at some point.
Fair enough.
Like you just get frustrated. Your offense isn't carrying along. And maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe they do keep it together. They beat the Steelers, but to me, I don't know. The Steelers have looked good.
Because the Broncos are what?
They're 500 right now.
Okay.
Right? 5-5.
Yeah, I think so.
They've won like their defense isn't looking amazing, but Russell Wilson's looking a lot better. He's starting to make bigger throws downfield, which that was the big, I guess, mark against them this season.
Yep.
But anyway, so that's what I've got. So then the games, and that would be week 1 bye for the Chiefs, then Jags Texans. That'd be a fun game.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Then Bills Ravens, and then Broncos Dolphins.
Yeah, I like that.
Who knows? It's
It'll
not
be
like
interesting.
anything could change and quarterbacks get hurt or anything.
I don't know. The NFC, I feel like it's just there's less. It's less fun because the AFC, you could actually see some different scenarios coming in. You can see the Broncos maybe making it, the Bills maybe making it. You see a couple teams falling off. The NFC, it's like, I mean, come on.
Yeah, because we had the exact same. It was just a matter of seeds.
Yeah, because like the next best is 4 and 6 outside of the top 7, and it's like, I mean, yes, someone could theoretically get hot, but they have to win 6 out of their next 7. Like, they're going to have to win a lot of games. So could happen, but we'll see.
All right. What you got for the picks?
So my 5 picks this week, 3 and 2 last week. Okay. Back on the winning train.
Yeah, let's do the quick rundown from it. You're back in the winning column.
Yep.
Not overall. So
Nope.
you got the Bengals, Ravens. Didn't predict Joe Burrow going down. That's crazy of you.
Yeah.
So Bengals didn't cover. Eagles obviously covered against the Chiefs. Cowboys covered against the Panthers. Shocker. Looked like they might not cover for a minute, but then they did.
They did.
Texans covered against the Cards. And then the Dolphins didn't cover against the Raiders. So now you're 24, 30, and 1 with 1 for 3 with your fades. Then had a 5-0 week. I texted you before the Eagles-Chiefs game. I was like, what would you rather have happen? Me not go 5-0 or the Eagles win? And you stayed true. And you said, I'd rather have the Eagles win.
Yep.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yep.
So I went, or Minnesota covering 2.5. Then we did the little parlay moving the line in the total points with the Chargers plus 4.5 over 39.5. That hit. Then San Francisco covering 10.5. Philly, as we mentioned, and then under 40 on the Jets-Bills game. And the Bills made me nervous because they were scoring some points. They put up 32 and the under was 40.
I can't, dude. There's been so many close calls in the last few weeks, like 1 point, 2 point differences.
But then the flip side is the 0-5 week. It was the close just falling in the opposite direction. But so now I'm 31, 24, 4 for 4 on the fence.
Dude.
If we were betting like $100 on each game, which we're not, but if we did across
You're
the season,
700.
I'm plus like, it would be plus like 380 on the season. I think you're minus like 850.
Yep.
So good thing that you're not betting.
Yep.
But anyway, let's see what you got.
because I'm only down, what am I down, 6?
Yeah, but you would only win $90 for every $100 you bet. Yeah. So you would lose $100 for every loss and you gain $90 for every win.
I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's that minus 110 for you. All right, so picks of the week. Coming in number 1, I mean, should be no shocker to anyone. I think I'm going 4 of the last 5 with this pick. I think the Titans are going to cover the -4 versus the Panthers. I mean, you got to keep it going.
Titans don't look good right now, but at some point.
I mean, I think you're going to beat the
trend.
Panthers by at least a touchdown.
Yeah.
Jaguars, I like them to cover. I know the Texans beat the Jags early in the season, but I like the Jags to cover the -1.5. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to show out in this game, and they're going to pretty much affirm their standing as the division lead. I got Vikings -3.5 versus Bears. I just think the Bears are bad, and I think Joshua Dobbs is a pretty good fit. Not as good as Kirk Cousins, but a pretty good fit. I think they cover by a touchdown. Browns, I'm taking them to cover the +1.5 versus the Broncos. The Broncos have looked great, but I tell you what, you know who looks better? The Browns defense. If DTR just doesn't turn the ball over, I think the Browns come out with a win there. And then Chiefs -9 versus Raiders. I think Chiefs are going to be very pissed off. They haven't scored at all. And like you just said, 3 second halves. I think it's going to be an offensive shootout. I think it's going to be 45-14 Chiefs.
Love how you burped in the mic there. That was nice. All right. Am I going to fade? I'm not going to fade any of yours. I don't think the Chiefs are going to cover, actually, but we'll see. I'm going to go 49ers in Seattle -7. Geno Smith's beat up. So this is where it's tricky because division games are always a question mark. And you've got, like, Pete Carroll of the coaches has Shanahan's number more than any other NFC West team. But Geno Smith's banged up. They're coming off. It's a short week because it's a Thanksgiving game. So all things considered, I like San Francisco to win by a touchdown. Then Browns, Broncos. I'm going to ride with Denver. Let's ride, Bronco country. What was it?
Broncos country?
Let's ride. Here's the thought. With the Browns in Mile High, like, altitude's going to play a factor there. A great home field advantage for Denver. I think that will affect their defense more. And that's the strong suit for the Browns. I don't know if I trust DTR. And then on the other side of things, the Broncos are hot. Obviously, they're the longest win streak of any team in the NFL right now. And they're starting to attack downfield more because they've been doing a lot of dump passes. And that's why if you look at Russell Wilson's numbers, he has good touchdowns, low interceptions, good rating and completion percentage, but not a lot of yards. And now they're starting to attack the middle of the field and go like a little bit more of a deep ball. And so I'm going to stick with them right now. And then
I love that for you.
Ravens at Chargers, Baltimore -3.5. Honestly, you should take the Ravens covering the first half spread. It's like -2.5. Should I do that or should I stick with the whole game? No, I'll just stick the whole game -3.5. Then Dolphins at Jets. I think the Jets are frustrated, falling apart. Their defense, I think, is ready to throw in the towel as good as they are. And so I've got the Dolphins covering here, -9.5. Then, so I did Browns. So there's one more pick that I need. I'm torn between doing the Patriots at Giants. Part of me wants to stick with the Giants here because the spread's 3.5 for the Patriots. And so here's the downside. I think Tommy Danny DeVito, like the Patriots defense, that could get in his head. That's way different than playing the Commanders. So he could flip and be awful. And then if you shut down Saquon, the Giants have nothing. I think the over-under is at like 33 or something on this game. The other one that I'm interested though is the Commanders and Cowboys. The over-under is at 48.5, which is crazy. But if you look at these two teams, the Cowboys have scored 40 points in a game more than any other team. And the Commanders, I think Sam Howell will come off a bad week and put up some points. So those are the two. What are your thoughts there? What should I go with?
I personally, I don't trust, honestly, right now, DeVito having a good game against the Patriots. I think I would go the over Cowboys.
That's what I'm thinking.
Commanders.
Because if I ride with the Giants and they let me down, I'm going to be like, you're an idiot. Why would you ever ride with the Giants? And so as tempting as that one is,
Patriots
I'm with you.
Suck though.
But they do. But like, do you really want to trust either one of those teams?
Yeah, that's why.
It's like I looked at the Saints, Falcons, and it's like -1.5 for the Falcons. Like, I think the Saints are going to win. But do I trust that?
No.
I don't know.
I looked at that game too, and I was like, nope. That's a pivotal.
Okay, yeah. So last one will be pivotal.
NFC South matchup.
So last one will be Commanders, Cowboys over 48.5.
Love it.
And so we're going to give Mr. Incognito the week off. I'm sure he's going to say ride with South Carolina against Clemson.
Broncos country.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
What's up, everybody? This week's Unsung Hero goes out to Douglas Monroe, a member of the probably unsung hero of the United States military family, which is the United States Coast Guard. Douglas Monroe is famously known as the only Congressional Medal of Honor recipient ever in the history of the United States Coast Guard, because on September 27th, 1942, at the Battle of Guadalcanal, he was called upon to drive a Higgins boat up towards the shore to help rescue about 500 Marines who found themselves pinned between a shoreline and an advancing enemy force. Monroe, taking the machine gun mounted on the Higgins boat, provided covering fire and ultimately gave his life in this moment to help rescue these Marines. Now, 80 years later, we can still celebrate him because it's people like Admiral Robert J. Papp, who's the 24th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard, who said, when people ask you about the Coast Guard, don't tell them what we do. Tell them the story of Douglas Monroe, because that's who we are. And who we are is much more important than what we do. The United States Coast Guard Academy plays football at the Division III level, and their big rivalry game is called the Secretary's Cup. It's played against the Merchant Marine Academy, and these two schools get together every Veterans Day weekend and battle it out. This year, the Merchant Marine Academy did win on the field, but it's the Coast Guard who showed up with the better jersey game, we'll just call it. They collaborated with Adidas to get a perfect shade of blue to mirror that of the uniforms worn by Coast Guard members during World War II. And on the back of the jersey said the name Monroe, along with the date, September 27th, 1942, honoring the memory of Douglas Monroe. But it went further. On the helmets, you had Signalman First Class insignia of the Coast Guard rankings, which was Monroe's ranking on the day that he died. Further, the Medal of Honor logo was put on the chest where the Adidas logo normally is, but Adidas moved it to the other side so that that logo could be over the heart. And further, the Marine division that was rescued that day, their logo was patched on the pants, further cementing the bonds these two service academies share in service to our country and our nation, both foreign and domestic. Signalman First Class Douglas Monroe and the United States Coast Guard Academy, and to veterans everywhere, thank you for your service, and you're this week's Unsung Hero.
Dude, and right after Veterans Day too. I mean, good timing.
He also sent us the Army jerseys that are looking nice too.
Ooh,
so we've got some fun stuff to look forward to.
And that was his first take too. So we're doing a freaking Thanksgiving side dish draft. I mean, think of anything that's not turkey. I mean, we're talking grandma's favorites, your cousin's favorites, your uncle's favorites, your stepdad's favorites.
But we're actually just talking our favorites.
But we're actually talking our favorites. Side dishes. Who's up first this
You're
one,
up first.
Joe? I'm up first.
It's an odd number, an odd episode for the odd fella.
Ooh, so are we doing 3 picks?
Yeah, let's do 3.
And we're going 1 to 3. Ooh, I'm starving right now. So I have to do this one. And it's just because I don't think it's the best, but I only have this once a year. And every time I have it, I'm like, why do I just not have this more often? And that's stuffing. I mean, number 1 overall, side dish, stuffing.
It's always an interesting thing. That's on mine, but is it dressing or stuffing? I flip back and forth, honestly.
Ooh.
Because that's like a demographic area, though. Of
Yeah,
what
for me, it's always been stuffing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a fair one. That was on my list at some point, but I've got to go with it. Mac and cheese.
Have
It's my
to.
favorite Thanksgiving or not Thanksgiving. It's just
Especially
a classic.
it's extra cheesy in Thanksgiving, I feel like. Number 2, I'm going with something that is delectable, delightable, detestable, not detestable, but something that's very good. And that is cream corn casserole. That stuff, every time I eat it, I want to smack someone, just in the face, because it just hits different.
Dude, it is good. Caitlin's mom makes some of the best corn. It's so good. I've got, this is going to surprise you, I think, an apple pie.
Oh, you're going dessert.
A dessert. Because it's like, we didn't say sides. We were like,
that's true.
Little extras. I've got to go an apple pie because I'm not like an apple pie year round kind of guy. But on Thanksgiving, it feels American. It feels right. It tastes good. You're sitting on the couch watching the Lions play, eating an apple pie.
Yeah.
It's America.
But yet it feels just a little bit
That is America.
Long. Yeah. Number 3, I'm going to wrap it up here with sweet potato marshmallow casserole. When you do the sweet potato dish and you put marshmallows on top of it, I mean, talk about a combination that was meant to go together. I mean, just meant to be together. It's like a freaking Nicholas Sparks movie. The couples are meant to be together, and that's sweet potato.
We're talking like Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson.
Oh, we're talking Ryan Gosling and whatever her name was in The Notebook. That's number 3 for me. Sweet potato
and whatever her name is from. I really wanted stuffing / dressing here, but you took it. Should I be true to myself?
Yes, you always got to be true to yourself. Be the authentic you.
Rolls?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, man.
It's fair. It's not crazy. It's not exciting.
What type of rolls? Like the little ones? The big ones?
So I'm a big fan of yeast rolls on Thanksgiving. There's the frozen ones that they come in like a pie dish almost, and the middle's gooey and perfect.
And they're little, the little ones. And you just...
Yeah, sometimes my mom will do like these bigger ones, but gosh, the yeast rolls on Thanksgiving,
it
hits different.
Just a little diffy.
Hits different because it's you. Don't sue us, Taylor Swift. Peace.
Trademark.